Hi everybody, this is Muhammad bin Yusrat once again for flashology.com, and today I'm going to be working on a different tutorial. It's not really about writing ActionScript 3 code, but it's actually about compiling it. And we all know we can just write it in Flash, in the Flash IDE. We can compile it right away, but some of us would maybe want to test out how ActionScript 3 is before we want to buy anything. Okay, now I know there are trials available out there, but the best option would be to go trial free and to just write code. And this tutorial is also useful for those who are maybe interested in compiling pure ActionScript 3 programs or Swift files. So if somebody is interested in writing code which is just ActionScript, okay, it doesn't have Flash with it, it is just pure ActionScript 3 code which is compiled to produce a Swift. One benefit of it that comes to my mind could be the size of the Swift is probably going to be very small, because you're going to be doing everything dynamically and including the drawings, and this can also really polish your skills. And best of all, it's going to be free. You won't even have to buy an operating system to work on the method that I'm going to be explaining in this video. So basically it's about compiling ActionScript 3 on Linux without spending anything whatsoever. So let's get started. First thing that you're gonna need is Flex SDK. Okay, this is open source, it's completely legal to download for free. All you gotta do is just go to this URL, and their downloads are available. You can just click on them, click one of these, and it's gonna start downloading. And you're probably gonna want to download this one here, I think. And once you have this, you're gonna want to extract this to a folder that I have done here and here. Yep, that's what I did. And we have all the files here. It's about 150 MBs or almost 200 MBs actually. We have a bin folder here. This actually lets us compile ActionScript 3 into Swift .as file into Swift. Now I'm going to assume that you know some basics of ActionScript 3 here, of course, to be able to compile this, because it's not about learning ActionScript 3, it's about compiling it. And since we're on Linux, I'm using Ubuntu 10.04. We don't really have an IDE yet for Linux. I mean, it may be out there, but I don't really know of one that that lets us, gives us code hinting or things like that. Some people have worked on producing this for Eclipse. Eclipse works on Linux, but I haven't been able to get that running yet. I didn't really try my hand on it yet. So here we have the SDK, and I'm gonna, since we don't have an IDE, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the GEdit. Okay, GEdit is like a notepad for Windows. It doesn't really come with anything. But since we're going to be writing code, GEdit basically has a very limited syntax highlighting feature. And if you go ahead and if you search for ActionScript 3 highlight for GEdit, you're gonna find a file. That's the first one that you can download, and you can and that URL also contains that link also contains instructions for installing it. And if you download that, it's going to provide a very primitive sort of code highlighting for ActionScript 3. So I just chose it, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file, and I'm going to save it on the desktop. Let's just move it like this a little bit. I'm going to save it as main.as. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and write a very small program. I'm going to say package, just like you write your document class. Public class main extends sprite. I'm going to write the constructor public function main returns nothing, and inside of it I'm going to write trace. Hey, it works. Okay, and for this I'm going to have to import sprite first. Import flash.display.sprite. Alright, I'm going to save this. Now we have the code. All we need to do now is to compile it. So I'm going to go ahead and open terminal. Terminal is like you have MS-DOS in Windows, and of course if you are inside Linux you probably know that. So we're going to go into the directory which contains our compiler, which we just downloaded, Flex SDK, absolutely free. And I'm going to go ahead, change directory to workspace, Flex SDK4, bin. There we are. And we have the compiler inside this directory. Now we're just going to give it a command that's called mxmlc, and I'm going to give it path to the file that I just wrote, which was main.as. So it's going to go to home, desktop, main.as. If I hit enter, let's see what happens. Yep, it has compiled, and it's there on my desktop. Both these files are there. So now how am I going to test this? What I'm going to do is I'm going to launch Firefox for this, and I'm going to tell you why I'm doing that. Let's hope it works. Alright, there we have it. So I'm actually going to clear the trace log and just refresh this once again. You can see the path, it's on my desktop, and here's the trace. It works. How does it work? Now basically why I loaded that file in Firefox is because in Firefox we can get the trace outputs. Now we all know without tracing it's really difficult. It's really difficult to just it's really difficult to write any code that's, you know, big. So I guess if we can get trace to work, then we can really write some really complex programs in Linux with pure ActionScript, I think. So how to get trace to work? The first thing we will need to do is to install Flash Player Debugger, the debug player, Flash Player, yeah, whatever that is. So to do that, the first thing you'll need to do is to install debug player. Now if you're trying all of this tutorial on Windows, it's pretty much the same, and it's a lot easier to install debugger on Windows. But well, if you're not, then you're gonna have to go ahead to this URL here. Wait, let me just, there you have it. So all I did was just I downloaded this file. Okay, I mean it shows a lot of things to be done, but all I did was I just downloaded this file and I ran this command. I just wrote this in the terminal, sudo oops, that's the one, that's what I wrote. And when